We managed to find the lions, everyone, or get in here. It was a bit tricky, and we did lose signal there for a while. But look at this, they're still feeding on the buffalo, and there's very little left there. Have a look at that. And just as I was saying to you earlier this morning, I wonder how much of this buffalo will be left, because these lions, there are a lot of mouths to feed here at the moment. So all 5 lionesses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all 5 lionesses, and it appears as if all 8 cubs are around here. So it's a lot of mouths to feed, which is, and that's why they get through these buffalo so quickly. I don't see any sign of a male, so perhaps the males did not meet up with these females last night. Which is a good thing, because then there would have been even more mouths to feed, and the males can feed on a lot of meat. And look at them, they're just relaxing now, resting. Justin, you want to know how long will it take a leopard or a lion to learn how to stalk properly or sneak down on the ground close to their prey? Well, Justin, I would say usually for leopards it's probably a bit earlier, so maybe a year and a half before they really start hunting on their own and become independent. For lions it might be a bit later. It may be somewhere along the lines of 2 to 2.5 years before they start understanding it properly and learning how to hunt properly. But they will be watching their mothers from before that. But I would say around 2 years, 2.5 years. And when you watch these lion cubs playing, they do stalk and they sneak up on one another. All of that is a learning experience for these young cubs, and that is how they learn to stalk and sneak up on prey. Okay, there's that. Anna, you were saying our cat streak continues. It does indeed. We're very, very fortunate, everyone. And there's going to come a day, and we must remember this, there will probably be a day where we don't see the lions, we don't find a big cat, and that's the way of the bush. It does happen at times. Oh, the lioness is getting a bit aggressive with one another at the carcass. Did you hear that, everyone? Wow. Just trying to listen to all the sounds, everyone. Listen carefully. Oh, look at that little cub. Looks like he's got a rib there. Rib or nice big bone that he can chew on. And every now and then you can hear these lionesses crunching on the bones. They've got very powerful jaws. Wow, look at that power. Don't know where she's wanting to take that carcass now. So I think what's happened here, everybody, is this lioness is possibly just trying to move it further under the tree. And one of the reasons they do that is to keep it out of sight of vultures, which may attract other predators like hyena. So that's usually why they try and drag it right under a tree to hide the carcass a little bit. And I think it was Katja that wanted to know, do these lions ever get food poisoning from eating meat that isn't fresh? No, not that I've seen. And I've seen lions feed on carcasses 2 or 3 days old. So no, I don't think so. Listen carefully, everybody. The other lioness is calling. Listen. She's giving quite a few calls now. I don't know why she is doing that, everyone. I have no idea, because the whole pride is here. Ron Scooton, you say that it would be great if these lions caught a bigger buffalo today. It would be great indeed. And as we saw driving in, everyone, while you were with us earlier, there's a lot of buffalo around here. So there definitely is a chance of that happening. Really peaceful sitting here because it's a lovely cool morning. These lions are just moving around feeding. Look at those little cubs feeding there. It's so funny to watch these lionesses get a little bit upset with these cubs. They get too close. This little cub just got a warning too, that one that you can see over there. Female did growl at him when he got, or him or her, when it got a bit close. Flies are bothering it. Wow, this lioness really is dragging his carcass deep into the, or under that tree. Wonderful to hear the sounds, everyone. Every now and then you get these cubs calling, making these strange little sounds. It's all contact calling within the pride. I don't know why that other lioness was calling though. That is very interesting. I mean, if anything, it could possibly be that she's checking if there are males in the area. And chewing on that bone, and that also strengthens their teeth, everyone. So it's important that they chew on these bones and chew on some of that meat. See that little cub's licking that bone, and they do have, I mean, even at that age their tongues will be very rough, so it's possibly licking a bit of meat off of them. You know, we've been speaking about it now for the last 2 weeks, or almost 3 weeks, especially since I've been here. I've noticed that how successful these lions have been with hunting the buffalo. They have hunted a number of buffalo in the last few weeks, And I think, again, you know, we've mentioned it, it's because the buffalo have not been really healthy. There's been very little food coming out of the drought and the winter. That one doesn't want to share anymore. So the buffalo being weakened have made it easier prey for the lions to hunt. And that, I think, is one of the main reasons why they've been so successful hunting buffalo. And also, it's a large pride, so they need a lot of food to feed all the cubs and the lionesses. So buffalo is a perfect kill for them. And Catty, again, you wanted to know if these lions ever dig a hole when they do defecate, just like house cats, and bury the dung. No, they do not. Or bury their feces. They do not. They'll just they'll squat out. Or usually what they do, though, which is quite interesting, they'll walk a little bit away from the pride, and then they'll defecate and drop their feces, and then just move off again. They don't cover it like house cats. Ryan, you want to know how old the cubs are, and I think they're almost 9 months old. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're 8 going on 9 months. It's a lot of activity here at the moment, everyone. I think because it's nice and cool, these cubs are playing a little bit. They're trying to chew on some of the meat. Lionesses are moving backwards and forwards. It's wonderful. It really is wonderful. And you can see most of these cubs, their bellies are quite full. Look at that. A little cub jumped right over the carcass. So the bellies are full. Oof. Getting a bit of a whiff of that carcass now. It's a bit strong. Got a pungent smell. So some full bellies around here, which is good. Daniel, you want to know how long a lion can live for. So, Daniel, it all depends on the area. Sorry, I thought I heard something. So, Daniel, it does all depend on the area, how much competition is around, how much food, how much water. But on average, lionesses, so the female lions, will live to the age of about 14, 15 years old. That's an average. And then male lions between 10 and 12 years old. So not as long as the lionesses. But again, like I said, that's an average, and it can change at times. If you've got a very successful pride, if there are a lot of lions hunting and they're providing food for the whole pride regularly, then you could very possibly have these lionesses and males live a lot longer. Also, coalitions of males, where you get 3 or 4 big dominant males together and they patrol an area. With them being together, they probably won't have to fight as much and defend their territory as much, because they'll keep other lions out. So then they may also live a little bit longer. But that's the average, about 14 to 15 years for females and about 10 to 12 years for males. Oh, look at these cubs playing in the foreground here. Oh, they get very upset with one another when they're trying to play. Yeah, the growls. Oh, sure. See those little cubs having a go at each other. Wow. They get very aggressive. That's a young age. Interesting. And whenever there's food around, it's amazing to see how aggressive these lions can be. Melinda, you wanted to know how long these lions can go for without food. So, I've seen lions go 3 or 4 days without eating anything, but then you can see they start looking really, really hungry. So, I would say that's pushing it. They do try and hunt at least once every 2 to 3 days. Even though, I mean, after this buffalo, they could probably easily go 3 days without food. But the thing is, they don't want to. They're opportunistic. If the food is around and they're able to hunt, they will hunt. They don't want to get to the stage where they are hungry. Kathy, you'd be surprised at how effective the lionesses are when hunting, when their bellies are so full. And even though they do look lethargic and a little bit slower, they will still move very, very quickly, and they will still be able to hunt on a full belly. I just hear another vehicle coming, everybody, so I might have to reposition our vehicle just to make space for them. Just trying to look for a little gap for us. I think, yeah, if you don't mind, I'm just going to reposition quickly, just so that there is space for the other vehicle. There we go. Obviously, we want as many people as possible to see these lions and enjoy the sighting with us. And luckily for us, we've got the camera, so we can position just about anywhere, so you can still enjoy the sighting with us. Tina all the way from Canada. Good evening to you, Tina, or good morning from South Africa. Tina, you want to know, is there a hierarchy between the females? There may be a slight hierarchy, but generally, Tina, what happens when they are feeding like this, or when they're hunting, they work together as a pride. So each one has got a role. They know that they need to work together to be able to hunt a buffalo. And when they are feeding, usually they all feed together, so you won't necessarily see that hierarchy when they're feeding, because these females rely so much on each other. There may be a slight hierarchy within the pride. One female is probably a bit more dominant, and usually what happens is it may be the oldest female. And I mean, what I've seen in a few different prides before, where there's an adult lioness that has given birth to cubs. Those cubs have grown up within the pride. So you've got a female that's about 3 years older than the next lionesses. And then that will usually be a more dominant female. She'd most likely ensure the safety of the pride and make sure they move through the correct areas and know where to hunt and so on. But it's sometimes difficult for us to see, and we might not pick up on it unless you know which lioness is which, but generally the older lioness may be a bit more dominant. Listen to the growls, everyone. And again, these little cubs get very aggressive when they're feeding. And lions do in general with each other. It's survival of the fittest. When there's food around, they all want the best piece of meat. Listen to those little growls. It's amazing the sound that these little cubs can make though. We're going to sit with these lions a little bit longer to see what they get up to, if they do decide to move after feeding on this kill. While I do that, let's head back to James, everyone. Let's see what he is up to. I believe he's making his way towards Cheetah Plains. So sorry for spoiling your surprise, James. I didn't know you wanted it to be a surprise. Good luck out there. I hope you do manage to find that quarantine male. These lions are still feeding bits and pieces, little cubs, still getting very aggressive with each other. Oh, listen to them. Elaine, you want to know if the lionesses will hurt the cubs while they're feeding? The lionesses are careful, but they do still get quite aggressive when they're feeding. And I've seen it a few times where these lionesses smack a cub if it gets too close or tries to get in her way while she's feeding. They give them a little bit of a paw just to put them back in line. And I have seen, definitely seen lionesses, but it's funny, their motherly instinct kicks in, and then they know they generally hold back a little bit, if that makes sense. But they do indeed warn the little cubs if they do get in the way. That's interesting. I can just see, I don't know if you can see, it's behind the tree and she's just stopped now. But one of the lionesses walked over to where the carcass was originally, and she started to kick sand up into that area. And they do that to try and mask the smell of this carcass, so hopefully as to not attract any other predators like hyena. A few flies buzzing around, as you can imagine, around this carcass. It's just wonderful to be able to sit and enjoy the sighting. Have a look off to the right, this lioness. And this cub, she went to go investigate what that little cub has got. Oh, she's moving. Thought she's going to come and lie close to us and get an investigator. Look at that little cub, doesn't want to share with its mother. Oh, that's wonderful. Look at that. You know, for such large beasts that can be quite aggressive and very powerful hunters, you know, they are still very affectionate towards each other. You saw that lioness licking and cleaning the cub. Just that instinct of motherly love, which is, it's wonderful to see. Just heard some branches breaking in the distance, everyone. Probably those elephant that we saw earlier. Atif, you wanted to know, or you mentioned that there's no male lion around at the moment. And what happens if another male lion comes in and tries to take over this pride? So Atif, in this area, we have got a coalition of males. 4 males, known as the Birmingham males. That's what we refer to this coalition as. And Atif, they do not belong to a specific pride. And these males have a very large territory, so they are able to keep out other males and challenge them for territory, for more territory, so they can extend and expand their territory. So what these males do is they will meet up with females from a few different prides, not just one. They do not only spend their time with one pride. Now, we've been lucky in the last few weeks, or week or two. There has been 1 or 2 of these males within the pride every now and then. They're following the females around and seeing if they're ready to mate. So, Atif, what happens now is, even though the males are not here, they are still patrolling the territory. And by doing that, they are keeping out any other lions that would want to come into the area. So the thing we need to remember is that these big males do protect the pride that way. Because if males had to come in from a different area, those males would probably attack these cubs and potentially try and kill them. The reason for that is then they would hopefully force the females to come into estrus, or force the females to mate with them, and so that these females may give birth to their offspring. But luckily, with these 4 big males, dominant males around, I think this entire pride is quite safe at the moment. So, as I was saying, Atif, this one male does not belong to this pride only. They will move between the different prides, and they do meet up with the prides at times, but they do not belong to this pride. And just a cubs spinning around there. Just a big hello to everybody watching on Twitter's Periscope, and we know we're streaming live there now, so it's great that you can join us on that platform. Something different, something new, so it's wonderful to have all you viewers watching via that platform. It's exciting, isn't it? I hope you're enjoying it with us. Big Blue, you've noticed something very interesting, and we can see those cubs doing it there now. You said, do these lions put their ears back when feeding because they are worried they get bitten? No. So Big Blue, what's happening there is those cubs are getting aggressive. Look at that one. You see that face? It's getting aggressive, and what they do is they pin their ears back. That's an agonistic behavior, that aggressive behavior. We spoke about it the other day. And what it is those black spots on the ears, and that, with them flattening the ears and pushing them back, it is a sign of aggression. And that is why they do it. So there you can see it's growling, it's snarling, the ears are flattened, pushed back. It's a sign of anger, it's a sign of aggression. That's why they're doing it. But well spotted. It's interesting to see that with the young cubs while they're feeding. Zoe, you wanted to know if I've ever seen these lions or any big cat. Listen to that, everyone. Lions or leopards or any big cats trying to get something out of a pond or a pan or a dam. I'm just trying to think now, Zoe. I haven't seen it myself, well, to an extent, and I'll show you a picture shortly, but I haven't actually seen lions or leopards trying to catch catfish, myself, but I've seen documentaries where they do it, and they will definitely do it if they come across a drying up water hole or pan. They will definitely go in and try and catch some of these catfish, especially leopards. Have I ever seen lions actually go into a pan where a giraffe had drowned and the lions climbed into the water and onto the giraffe to feed? And I'll actually show you a picture of it just so you can see what it looked like. It was a sighting not too long ago, and it just shows you how these lions will literally climb into the water if they want to see, or if they need to get to food. And if you have a look here, is just a picture I took of this male lion. Look at that, feeding on a giraffe and completely in the water hole. Isn't that incredible? So this, I took this, I think it was in August. So this old giraffe, and we spoke about it earlier, what would cause older animals to die, and this old giraffe came down and drank and actually slipped, fell into the water hole and couldn't get up again. It was just old, weakened, and it drowned, and these male lions eventually found it and fed on it. But the way, just to show you how opportunistic they are, they climbed into the water, walked in and started to feed, and they were there for about 2 or 3 days because it was a massive kill, big giraffe, and it was just the 2 males. No other lions came and fed on it, so they were there for quite some time. Some cubs playing over there. A lot of sounds, everybody. Can you hear that? Look at those cubs rubbing up against the females. Wonderful interaction. But these cubs are very vocal this morning, which is great. Lovely to hear them making their little sounds. and very different to that growling when they are feeding. Oh, there comes a little cub. Oh dear, what's wrong? Where are you running off to? Perhaps a little bit nervous of the vehicle moving around. Just watching closely. Interesting question, Crystal. You wanted to know if the lions will kill more often as the cubs get older. Crystal, most likely, you know, as the cubs get older, obviously they need more food. So, in saying that, then they'd probably have to kill quite regularly to feed a whole pride of, you know, 5 females, 8 cubs, 13 lions. It's a lot of lions to feed, a lot of mouths to feed. So they may indeed hunt more frequently, but the other thing is, we've been lucky to see them the last 2-3 weeks being very successful hunting buffalo. It's not always like that, everyone. It really isn't. The lions are not always that successful when it comes to hunting. Generally, an average with lion success is they only have about a 30% success rate from all the hunts. I know a lot of us watch these documentaries on National Geographic and so on, and we see these lion hunts and kills on a regular basis, and we've been lucky to show you some of that live on safari now. But it doesn't always happen like that. You know, a lot of those documentaries, people spend hours out there watching, following, spending time with these animals and trying to get them hunting. But they're not always that successful. It's difficult for lions to hunt because all these other animals are so aware and so alert of what's going on around them. I just think because at the moment the buffalo are weak and there's a lot of buffalo around, that the lions have been more successful. But when they get older, these cubs, the lions would still try and hunt, so probably just as frequently as they are doing now. As I mentioned again, they're very opportunistic. So if food is around, they will hunt. But they will need more meat to feed these cubs when they are older. So probably hunt a lot more and a lot more frequently when they do get older. So I was starting to worry about James. I thought he got lost because I hadn't heard from him for quite a while. But he apparently has a surprise on Cheetah Plains for you. So let's go see what that is. Okay, everyone, something has just materialized over here. These lionesses have spotted some buffalo moving not too far away. You can... actually, I don't know if you'd be able to see them. You might be able to. There they are. Can you see that? They're the buffalo. So not too far. And these lionesses are all fixed and focused on them at the moment. It looks as if they may try and flank them a little bit. Now, this could just happen very quickly. And we've spoken about how opportunistic these lions are. And this could get very, very exciting very quickly. And just a reminder, everybody, that this is live and this is wild. So for sensitive viewers, if you are not wanting to see a hunt, it might be a good time to go and make a cup of tea if you do not want to see it. I'm not saying they're definitely going to be successful, but there is a good chance. So let's see what happens. This is exciting, very, very exciting. We don't want to move around too much because we don't want to disturb them. And it looks like those buffalo are heading in this direction. So what I assume might happen is these lionesses might lie down and wait for the buffalo to move a bit closer so that they don't have to stalk. They can just lie in ambush, and what might happen is then as they get a bit closer, rush out and try and get one of these buffalo. It's very exciting. Let's see what happens. I can see. Here comes an elephant too, moving through there. That could definitely change things slightly, because elephants often chase lions if they do smell them or see them. But watch, all these lionesses now are completely fixated on these buffalo. 1, 2, 3, 4. Where's the other lioness? I just see 4 of them at the moment. But it's incredible how the whole atmosphere around here has just changed. Oh, this is interesting, but those are some big males. You can see just by the boss, middle section of horn, the boss, it's very thick. So these do look like bigger males, bigger than this buffalo that they did kill. And these little cubs are calling around us, making a bit of noise. Isn't that a wonderful shot that Brian has got there with the lioness and the buffalo in the background? Oh, it's wonderful. That is really great. The elephants seem to be moving away. It's actually hard to see. You can't see the elephants now. They're about 60 meters or so away. 60 to 70 meters. And it looks like they're moving away from here. I can just see the ears moving through. But let's stay with this lioness and buffalo, because look how fascinating this is. We're just stalking everyone. And as I mentioned, well, you can see the 2 lionesses now lying there. I think the other one is just behind those bushes. So lying, waiting, not stalking any closer, just seeing if these buffalo actually approach them and they can ambush them. It'd be much easier than trying to stalk. This is very exciting, everyone, and the thing is that we don't know when this is going to explode. It could happen any time from now, or 10, 15 minutes from now. But let's have a look. Buffalo coming closer.
There's the cub.
Brian was saying he thinks this buffalo heard the cub, and that's a possibility. Heard the sound of the little cubs making a noise. So hopefully the cubs don't spoil it for the lionesses. Michael, you asked, do the cubs know to sit still and be quiet? It does appear as if they do know. They're not walking over to the females and bothering them. They are hanging back. They're lying down where they were left, but they are making little sounds, which is not ideal. They need to be quieter. But it is incredible to see how they know to hang back a little bit. They're not right next to the females or moving around or playing as much as they were earlier. So that instinct does kick in, and they can see the change in body language from the lionesses. As you can see there, that lion poised and ready. Flying Fish, you asked, are buffalo colorblind? Now I'm trying to think, and I always forget this, and I wonder how they study it. Apparently, judging by the rods and cones in their eyes, they can determine what animals see, and they usually say, predators generally see in a black and white color, but I don't know about antelope and buffalo and that. I'm actually not sure what their eyesight is like, if it is color. I would assume it's a bit of color though. And again, I always wonder how accurate those studies are, but nowadays modern medicine and the studies and the research that gets done, it is really incredible. These cubs are starting to move a bit closer, everyone, which is a bit worrying, because they may mess up this hunt or potential hunt, or spoil it if they make too much noise, move around too much. Those buffalo are still slowly creeping forward. Again, I don't want to move too much now. Don't want to disturb the lionesses or the buffalo. We don't want to favor either of the two. But look at that. Oh, that buffalo is getting much closer. If these lionesses do spring up and run off the buffalo, we will move quite quickly. Now that female buffalo over there is not looking too healthy at the moment. You can see the ribs. And I say it's a female, you can see the boss, very, very thin horn structure, not as thick as the males around her. So something like that could potentially be a bit easier to hunt, everyone, because she looks a little bit weaker. So let's see what happens. These little cubs better sit tight. Wow, that's amazing. Look at that, everyone. Now, as I mentioned, hang on. These lions have kind of flanked these buffalo a little bit. They spread out. They're probably about 40 meters apart. From the lioness on the furthest or far left to the lioness on the far right. So they've kind of flanked them, and what may happen is one could possibly burst out and maybe try and chase one buffalo towards the other lionesses. Okay, it's starting to get quite tense here again, everyone. These buffalo are even closer now. That. I think the buffalo, yeah, there we go. Gonna move, everyone. Let's try to see. It looks like they managed to not quite get one yet, but they were following one. The elephant or trumpeting. There we go. There's the lioness on the back, everyone. Look at that, look at that. There we go, the elephants have trumpeted, they're moving off. Oh wow, look at this. Yes, this is incredible, everyone. Just again, everybody, for those sensitive viewers, if you are watching, it's not always easy to see, but this is nature, everybody. So just bear that in mind, please. And this is interesting. Let's just watch. All 5 lionesses now. Watch how they'll try and keep that buffalo busy while that one lioness is hanging on. She won't let go, but look how strong this. Look at that. Try and get the legs out from under the buffalo. And how powerful is that buffalo, though, to be able to stand with this lioness on its back. Other buffalo may also come back and help this one. And there's some elephant coming into the area now too. Let's see what happens. Wow, this is... Oh. Look at that. Managed to shake off that lioness and get away. Now with this elephant just off to the right, you might see it coming into frame. There we go. Let's see what happens here. Now you see the lionesses moving off very quickly. I don't like the elephant very much. Wow. Look at that. Isn't that incredible? Buffalo managed to get away and the elephants chased the lions off. You see, lions do not really like big elephant. I'm just going to watch what this elephant does. No, easy. I'm not going to move. She's just chasing that other lioness. Don't charge us. Hey, don't worry. See, I don't want to move. No. Hang on. We're not here to hurt you. See, I don't want to make too many loud noises and sounds like this other guy is doing. See, they're a little bit upset with these lions around. This is just a young elephant though. I just want to sit tight. So everyone, see, this is typical behavior. These animals do get very upset when there are lions around and that, but I do think staying calm as much as possible is far better than trying to make too much noise, shouting at the elephant. Try to keep our voices as calm as possible. I do believe they pick up on that, and that young elephant could see just coming towards us and then moved off again, just unhappy with all these lions around. And there it goes. Some more elephant running, and there's buffalo running off to our left. Possibly smelt. Now, situations like this, everyone, you do have to be sure to have an escape route just in case, especially with a herd of elephant around like this, and with that other one trumpeting, it will definitely alert the herd. And you saw some buffalo running there too. I don't know where the lions have gone now. One lioness headed back in that direction. So it's all going on at the moment. It really is. I mean, this is incredible. Isn't that amazing? And that elephant did get my blood pumping a little bit, but like I said, it's best to stay calm and just try and assess the situation as best as possible. Not panic, not make too much noise. Just see, and if you need to, then you can react and possibly make a loud noise, which would probably stop the elephant. But luckily there, it didn't look like it was really aggressive. Just wanted to warn us and try to chase us away too. And I think purely because it got hyped up by those lions being around here. How amazing was that? That was incredible. So exciting. Wow, I've got goosebumps, everyone. That was incredible. There's still some elephant moving off through the thicket. You can't really see them now, but I'm just wanting to explain the scenario a little bit better. So there's still a few elephant dotted around. Some buffalo moved around again. Looks like most of the lionesses headed back towards the rest of the cubs. And so we'll move around and head back there shortly. But it's interesting to see how that behavior, and that's why the buffalo calling like that distress call alerted the elephant came back, the other buffalo came back too, and it's incredible to see once those lions get outnumbered or these big animals start chasing them, they're very nervous and they'll get out of there very quickly. That buffalo was lucky though to be able to shake that lioness off, and with that elephant coming in. And I always say this, with seeing that elephant move in and those lions run off, who is the king of the jungle? And I think it might be the elephant, everyone, because that one elephant just came in and basically saved the buffalo, I think, and chased the lions off. What a fascinating sighting. Yeah, that is incredible. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back and let's go see where those lions are, if they've moved back to where the cubs were. And let's see, I can't see them just yet. Moved off a little bit. When a Chavlondov. Laughing at the other ranger. There's still that young elephant over there, straight ahead, everybody, and it possibly sees or smells the lions. That's where the lions were. I think these lions have, what's the best way to describe it, hightailed it out of here. Yeah, there they go. They're running off to the right. Can you see them down there, Brian? There, I've just spotted them. There they go. That elephant is not happy with them. Also, I think, everyone, I'm not going to go too much closer because I don't want to aggravate that elephant anymore. There's no need for that. And again, remember, we need to be sensitive. And something like this puts all these animals on edge. And to avoid situations, you do give them a bit of space. There's no need for us to go closer. I think it is important that everybody realizes that this really was an incredible sighting in terms of interaction and between three different species, three of the big five, and the apex predator of the area, and then the two largest herbivores around here. Well, the buffalo, I suppose, probably the third or fourth largest. If you take into consideration the rhino and the hippopotamus. In a second, I might get us a better view from this side. Oh dear, this vehicle. Let's have a look. I might get a view from here, but like I said, everybody, that was great to see. Maggie from Ohio, and let's just have a look. Those lions are straight down there. Can you see them? Maggie from Ohio, you wanted to know, did this elephant specifically come back to save the buffalo? What was its motivation? No, Maggie, I don't think so. I'll tell you why I say that, everyone. Is these elephant moved into the area. So we first heard the elephant coming through, and then we saw the buffalo. Those distress calls from the buffalo basically got the rest of the herd to come back and try and help. I mean, we could see them in the background. The thing is, that distress call and that does now work up the elephant and gets the elephant's attention. Now this elephant, it was actually a herd of elephant around here. So now we've got a herd of elephant, and they are very protective over one another. And because there's a predator around, the elephant don't necessarily know, are these lions just hunting the buffalo? Are the lions going to go for the buffalo and for one of the elephant? So my theory, and I say this is a theory because there's never a guaranteed answer or a completely correct answer in a situation like this. My theory is that these elephants were aggravated by the sounds, the smells of the lions, the buffalo distress call. All of that put these elephants on edge, and now what they're going to do is they're going to protect themselves. They want to get rid of these predators. So all that elephant did was come through, trumpet, charge. The rest of the herd was then very wary of the lions around. They moved a little bit closer together. We saw they were in the background. Some of the other elephant have come into the area now too to investigate. So I don't think it was necessarily a case of the elephant knowing that it is coming to save the buffalo. Because if we think back, the lioness was on that buffalo quite some time. So I think it's purely a case of the elephant were protecting their own herd and themselves and just purely trying to get rid of a predator. Even when lions aren't hunting, if lions are sleeping in the shade of a tree and elephants walk by, if they smell them or see them, they'll come straight back and they'll chase them away. I've seen it many times, purely because they are predators. They don't want them around. So I think that's what happened in that situation. These elephants seem to have calmed down now a little bit. The lions have moved off. I can just still see some movement through the thicket. It's very difficult to see them. But wasn't that incredible interaction? To see it all unfold in front of us, these buffalo moving closer towards the lions not stalking necessarily, but just lying in ambush. And as soon as those buffalo got it close enough, off they went. And they tried to catch one, and that lioness did very well, I think, to be able to jump on the back of that buffalo. And we saw how powerful that lioness was holding on. And that's a good 140, 150 kilograms. So what's it, about 340 pounds, somewhere around there, I would say. 320, 340 pounds of muscle on your back. And this buffalo, that female buffalo, managed to stand her ground, turn around, chase off the other lions. You saw she used her horns. She kept facing them, trying to chase them off, and managed to shake off that other lioness, which was incredible. Just shows you how powerful these buffalo actually are. There we can see some movement through the thicket. There goes the lionesses. Marianne from Arkansas, the cubs I did see moved with those lionesses. The lionesses just ran back towards the cubs, took the cubs away from this area. These elephants are all feeding in and around that area where the carcass was of that buffalo that they were feeding on. So the lionesses did just take all of them down towards the drainage line. I'm not sure how we're going to get down there. It looks very thick, as you can see. But they did fetch the cubs and take them away. You can see the elephant off to our left, still feeding. Ralph the dog, you wanted to know, will the buffalo survive those wounds that were inflicted on it by the elephant now? Yes, definitely. I think all that it got was a few scratches on the back and a bite or two on the right on the back, on the spine and that, but it didn't look like it caused too much damage. And these animals all have an amazing ability to heal very, very well. And often you'll find buffalo with scars, not just buffalo, zebra, you'll find them, and some other animals, larger animals, you'll find them with scars from lions and that, but they've managed to get away and eventually they will heal. That buffalo looked fine when it did move off. Obviously a lot of adrenaline going through it, but I mean, you could see how powerful it was to turn around and shake off that lioness. What an amazing sighting, everybody. That was very, very special. It's not something you see every day. So, and we were speaking about it earlier when I said, you know, these lions are not always successful when they hunt, and we've just seen that. They will try and try and try, and every now and then they are lucky and they do pull a buffalo down. These buffalo are powerful, and we just saw now how the herd works together, and one or two of the buffalo came back to try and help, but I think also luckily the elephant were around here to chase the lions off, and so that the buffalo could get away. Fascinating behavior. It does not get much better than that, everyone, that's for sure. Just trying to see, let's just have a quick look around here, see if I can see which direction those lions have gone. It looked like they moved up this drainage line. But like I said, everyone, you know, and you see, I'd like to stress this, because I think it's important. You see these videos on YouTube of people being charged and chased by elephant and panicking a little bit, or not listening to warning signs and that, and not understanding the elephant behavior. I'm not saying I'm an expert at all, but I do think that spending a lot more time out here does enable you to understand their behavior a bit better. And that situation, I just didn't feel the need to have to start the vehicle, rev it, make a loud noise and race away. And it's strange, and I don't know, it's just a feeling that you get sometimes when dealing with some of these animals. I am always very, very careful and very wary of elephant. Look at the herd off to our right, everyone. Look how they're all standing. And that is because I think of all this commotion, they are protecting the youngsters. See how they're standing close by the mothers. They can obviously sense that the lions are potentially still in this area. So they're staying close by just in case, just to make sure. Debbie, you wanted to know if one of these Birmingham males, one of the big coalition males, if he was with the Pride, would there have been a different outcome? It's hard to say, Debbie. I think because of these elephant and that came through, I think the outcome in the end would have been the same. But perhaps the lions would have been able to get that buffalo down, because with a big powerful male around, they usually help a lot with buffalo kills. And he would have most likely been able to take that buffalo down. So it could have resulted in the buffalo being taken down, but I think in the end, with these elephant around, I think it would have been the same outcome. Now, everybody, I'm just watching these elephant behavior and listening to them. I'm actually going to leave them, and I'll tell you why. They do seem a little bit distressed still, and I don't want to disturb them any further or cause them to react. Remember, I just said the whole thing is being sensitive, understanding the behavior. There's no need to try and move closer. We've seen them now, we know where they are, but you can see they are distressed. They've got the little ones close to them, and I'd prefer just to leave them alone, because I think even though they seem relaxed, but again, you don't want to take a chance, and there's no need to. So you who were a little bit worried about the cubs, as I said, the lionesses just quickly ran back, got the cubs and got out of there, so you really don't have to worry. So everybody walked out of there fairly unscathed, bar the buffalo that got a few scratches on the back, but I think she will be okay. They're just on the other side of that drainage line again, everyone. So unfortunately, I mean, we did try and look if we could drive through there. It's very thick and I won't be able to get through there. No, they're just lying down now, which is good news. Oh, that's good. So they'll probably just rest around this area. If there are more buffalo around, they could potentially try later, if they do see some more buffalo. And there are a lot of buffalo around at the moment, as we said, and they appear every so often, and just shows you how opportunistic these lions are. Feeding on a carcass, but if there's fresh food, they'll go for it.